Welcome to Common Sense Wellness with Dr. Gary Martin, the show that helps you take control of your health with clarity, confidence, and practical wisdom. Dr. Gary Martin has spent decades in clinical practice and natural wellness research, discovering that the key to lifelong vitality lies in understanding the body's signals before they become symptoms. Each week, we will explore simple science-backed methods like mineral testing, facial scans, and lifestyle adjustments that help you restore balance from the inside out. You'll also hear from expert guests and real clients who have turned their health challenges into stories of transformation. No gimmicks, no fads, just common sense wellness that works. Now, here's your host, Dr. Gary Martin.
Welcome to Common Sense Wellness. I'm Dr. Gary Martin, and for over 50 years, I've helped people understand their health through testing, practical wellness strategies, and holistic approaches. On this show, we explore simple, actionable ways to restore balance, boost energy, and thrive. And I'm all wound up in my cord here. Hang on just a second.
Sure.
All right. Our guest today is Freda Surace, a retired educator, born, raised, and educated in California. Freda has spent 31 years as an elementary school teacher with the Los Angeles School District, dedicating her career to educating and supporting young learners. So, Freda, please start by introducing yourself and giving us a little bit about your background.
Okay, I'm Freda, and as Dr. Martin said, I was born and raised in California in the city of Los Angeles in a community by the name of Eagle Rock. And I graduated from Eagle Rock High School and went to Occidental College. And I've continued, it seems like I moved out of the area and I've lived in Pasadena then for most of my life after college.
So how did you first get interested in natural, or as the medical people call it today, functional wellness?
Well, you know, my dad was a dedicated firefighter with the Los Angeles City Fire Department. And I watched him work out, watch his diet, and really, he wanted to be fit so he would be ready to meet any fire that might occur while he was on duty. And also, when I was in college, my roommate, and who I'm still in contact with her today, her folks were very interested in health and they practiced it. And I really enjoyed the conversations I had with them. And I realized the importance of having your health.
Yep, for sure.
Yeah.
So what led you to connect with me and discover Biological Immunity Research Institute? We go back a lot of years. Sure, I do have this vague memory of the first time that we chatted on the phone, but boy, it's been a long time ago.
Yeah. That was in 1990, Dr. Martin.
Wow.
And I'll tell you, as a teacher, I became, if a child was sick in the classroom, I got it. And of course, I sought medical advice and took the antibiotics. And I kept saying to myself, well, where's the root cause? Let's get to the bottom of this. Well, it never happened. And also, today it's stress that we're facing. I had people, places, circumstances, and events in my life where there was a lot of stress. And I thought, gosh, there's got to be a better way. And this went on, and I was a member of a health organization, and I don't remember the name of it, Dr. Martin, I think you do. And I saw a blurb about your BIRI group and your mammogram processing, and I thought, well, gee, I've tried counseling, the traditional counseling. Really, I didn't see much of a change in how I handled things in my life and how I felt. I thought, I'm going to try mammogram processing and see what it's all about.
All right. So mammogram, for those of you that don't know, mammogram processing is where we help people discover that their body is their mind made visible.
Mm-hmm.
And most people think that health is all about the body. Well, really, if the body is a mind made visible, then maybe the body's not the first domino. Maybe the mind is, right? So that's really in the beginning, that's how you and I really started talking, was through mammogram processing and helping. You want to give us a little bit about, I don't want to dwell on it, that's for sure, but you want to give us a little bit about a background in terms of childhood and the challenges that you faced as a child that began to really form what we call your mammogram.
Right, in my invisible belief system, where there was a situation with a neighbor and their daughter in school, and things that came up. There was a lot of stress, not only in the family, but in my school years. I really had no idea of how to handle it, and my folks didn't either. And so I would run fevers, and doctors would be called in. They couldn't find anything wrong with me. So this started at a very young age, this stress that I felt and was dealing with.
Right. So when you did the urine and saliva tests that we teach people preferably how to do for themselves, but it can also be done by overnight mail as well. But if you can remember, what was there about our approach using the urine and the saliva and the numbers and the hair mineral analysis? What
Yeah.
what was there about any that stood out to you that made sense?
Well, particularly when we did the HMA, the hair mineral analysis, and I saw the calcium, magnesium off the chart, and those are the stress minerals, I thought to myself, golly, I got to do something. And you worked with me on that. How am I handling my people, places, circumstances, and events? How am I reacting? And this was very important information for me to see because I was seeing it, how it was affecting my body. And I thought, this is certainly not healthy. And the numbers on the BIA, the sugar and the salt. And, you always say, I love to think of this, and I think of you when you talk about, drink your water. And of course, when you measure the salt, you can tell if people really are drinking enough water. And then the ureas and the proteins, all of these numbers together form and ratios form a pattern, which with you as the health professional help to interpret and help us see what we need to do to achieve health and, get rid of these disease symptoms that we have. So very important.
So, how have your results or your outlook on health changed since you've been working with the BIA and the HMA and mammogram processing?
Well, I realize that health is not something that you just say, oh, yeah, I'll go on a diet and then I'll do what I want to do. It really is something that that I realized I have to pay attention to and work on. And with your program, with mammogram processing and BIA and the HMA, it's like a synergistic effect. You get a whole picture of where you are and what you need to do. And golly, who doesn't want to feel better and enjoy life more? You know, it's been a tremendous blessing, and I'm very grateful.
So, if someone listening feels stuck, they've been here, they've been there, done this, done that, they don't really feel that whatever approach they've been using is getting results. What's the first simple step that you would recommend that they take?
Well, I would say Dr. Martin says, drink your water. And it sounds so simple to drink half your body weight in ounces of water, but by golly, it has been the hardest thing I've ever tried to do.
Yeah,
But
it
you
is.
see the results. You see it in your numbers when you do the BIA.
Yeah, it's just like, look at the earth, look at the planet.
Yeah.
What do you have where there's plenty of water? And what do you have where there is?
And that's all thanks to Dr. Carrie Reams, who was a scientist who specialized in soil and how to make plants grow. And it turned into people saying, gee, can you heal me?
Yeah, right. I wonder if like somewhere back there, he thought, gee, I wonder if these principles apply to the human body.
Right. And
So
they do.
instead of using soil, he figured out that, hey, I can use urine and saliva. And then he had to figure out, okay, well, what's perfect? What's our benchmark? What numbers do we need to be? So, the healing zone is each of the 7 parts of the BIA, biological immunity analysis, BIA for short, is the urine and saliva test that we teach people about how to use this for themselves personally, how to use it for the family, how to use it for the friends. It is amazing that when you get yourself into what we call the healing zone, what the body's able to do. I mean, the body is a self-healing mechanism. So if it's not healing, the question should be, what do I need to take What do I need to take to fix that? No, the question should be, why isn't my body able to heal that? What's wrong in the environment in my body? And how can I measure that? How
Right.
can I find out what that is? And what do I need to eat and drink and take, so forth. So one of the things that we talk about a lot is making truth your authority. Don't People are trained almost from childhood to make authority their
Mhm.
truth.
Right.
What does that mean to you personally when we say make truth your authority, do not make authority your truth?
I love that saying. I really do because, you look at TV and look at the ads, take this pill and then you hear the side effects and you're saying to yourself, who on earth would take this?
I
And
know. Might kill you, but I'm on this mountaintop and I'm enjoying life. It's such a dichotomy.
yes. And then there's other, magazines and so forth, people, who have their ideas about things. But bottom, and you have to really have a sense of discernment and you have to question. And of course, to me, that was brought home when we went through the experience with the COVID vaccination. What was the truth there? Trying to find the truth
Right,
so we could make the best decision for ourselves.
right. So how do you define balance when it comes to wellness? What have you learned from us that helps you define balance?
Well, the balance of emotional and physical, and it all works together. It's amazing how these three different tests really are synergistic. So wellness isn't just taking vitamins and it's not just exercising. They all combine together. And we have to keep an eye on what's going on so that we don't get out of balance. And it is easy too. I love the concept. And I think of the years where ladies and myself included and my mom, we'd go on a diet and say, oh, we lost 10 pounds. Okay, now we can eat whatever we want. Wellness isn't that. So it's all of these things combined, spiritual, physical. These things are all, as you said, our body is our mind made visible. So true.
So what would you say to somebody that might be listening or watching this podcast who they just stumbled on us? Maybe they like the word common sense wellness and they checking it out, and here they are that they're, watching the two of us chat here.
Yeah.
What words of advice, what words of wisdom would you give to them?
Well, I would say, look up berry.com and start and look at what your organization provides for people, a wealth of material to educate people so that they can navigate the medical system and the health system better. These all help us with our discernment of what we see presented to us, via TV, computer, and so forth. And I would say, start looking around, look into all of the things that are provided for us to see and learn from.
All right, let me add a note of correction there. It's
Ah,
BIRI.org,
mhm.
not BIRI.com. I don't even know where that'll take you, but it won't be to us, that's for sure.
Good. That's
Right.
good.
So, what are a few practical, common sense things that you do every day to stay healthy and centered?
Well, it becomes a routine of, how much sugar are you eating today? How much salt? Get that water down. And it becomes it's a habit that you form. Let me get outside and walk around a bit. What about my spiritual self, my mind? Do I read the Bible? Do I read some spiritual encouraging material when I get in the morning? What am I bringing into my life? If it's negative, I've learned you have to stay away from it. And well, what would I call it? It's really a plan, it's a way of life uh, that brings wellness into your body and into your life and brings opportunities that maybe you hadn't thought of. And it's something that I have found that's very important to take. I realize you cannot take health for granted. You have to
That's
really work on it.
right. Right. Yeah. There's this saying is that ignore your health and maybe it'll go away.
Yeah, yeah.
We're not taught today hardly. I mean, you hear drink 8 glasses of water a day. You hear an apple a day keeps the doctor away, but we're not given any really common sense tools
Yeah.
like learning how to test your urine and your saliva What could be easier than that? And learning how what a HMA, you can't really test your hair. That has to be done by a special laboratory. But we get our hair cut, we get our hair cut regularly, and we just, throw it away.
Yeah.
Well, your hair can tell you something about the minerals in your body. The minerals are your basic building blocks of the body. So we're not taught, this is knowledge that is revolutionary, really, because it's not taught, even though it's old knowledge and it's been around for years. And then, of course, getting inside of someone's mind, that's a whole nother thing, right? In other words, we are what we think. We eat because of the way we think. So it's like, what's that saying? You are what you eat. Okay. But we eat because of the way we think.
Yeah.
So maybe we are what we think. Maybe the eating is just the kind of like the middleman, right?
Yeah.
And so a lot of people will change that, but they don't change the first domino, which is, who am I? What am I? Where am I? So this is where we work with this concept called knowing your memgram. Your memgram is your invisible belief system, and most people don't even know that they have one. Everybody has one. Everybody has a plan against their life, which can be uncovered, which can be discovered by seeing your memgram chart. So, we've been working together for, 20, 30 years here. What would you say regarding the memgram? What do you think that memgram processing, what do you think the bottom line of that is for you so far? What do you think it has helped you see about yourself that you probably would never otherwise have known?
Well, to have you say, there is a plan against your life, and to become aware of that and to connect it with an invisible belief system has helped me see there's some things I need to do differently. I've got to make a move, as you've often said to me, Dr. Martin. And that's been invaluable to me. And I noticed that, remember, we all believe in positive thinking and we've been taught about that, but it's more than that. It's a change in how we view things and how we handle these stresses, the people, places, circumstances, and events that come into our life. This has been very meaningful to me. And I'm very grateful to have had this process. And with each trauma, with each level, it's a different set of traumas. And you're thinking, gosh, I've collected all these traumas in my life. It's amazing.
Yeah.
And as
Yep.
we edit them and go through them, golly, it's like as they talk about peeling layers off an apple or an orange,
Right.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Well, thank you, Freda. I really appreciate you and you, like I said, was it really 1990?
Yes.
Yeah. How time flies.
Yeah.
All right. All right. Thank you, Freda. I
Thank
appreciate
you.
your input. Yeah.
Thank you, Dr. Martin. It's been
Thank you for
wonderful.
joining us on Common Sense Wellness. Remember, taking practical steps to understanding your health emotionally and physically is how we restore balance, boost energy, and thrive.
Yes. Amen. Yeah.
Thanks for listening to Common Sense Wellness with Dr. Gary Martin. To learn more about the testing and resources we discussed, or to find out how you can take charge of your own health, visit BIRI.org. You'll find valuable information, free tools, and ways to connect directly with our wellness community. That's BIRI.org. If you enjoyed today's episode, be sure to subscribe and share the show with someone who's ready to take their next step toward better health.